Maiga, and welcome back to Writing a Musical. Stream just ended, and well, it's been a bit of a crazy one. So as I talked about last time, these are my original plot points that I have for the show, kind of how I envisioned it. And then I decided to work with Save the Cat Writes a Novel. And so I've been kind of working with kind of mapping out and learning the different beat points. I just got through Act 1 during the sprint, and I'm working my way through Act 2. Originally, what I thought the catalyst was going to be Megan reaching out to Alejandra and like giving her the card and being like, hey, I want to go on a date with you. And that being the reason why, you know, she changes her life. She gets prepared for a date. She lies to her mom about her feelings and all those things about just coming out, being queer, and finally, you know, having some sort of joy with Megan. But then the current running kind of underneath the show was the coffee shop, this place where people, you know, diverse people gather and just a place for community. But as I was working on the show and I reached the point of the catalyst, you know, it has to be something that destroys essentially Alejandra. The main question that Save the Cat asks you for the catalyst is, can they go back to living the way that they were before after that? In my mind, I'm thinking, I guess, like, they don't have to rock the boat. They don't have to accept the date. You know, they could just pretend that it never happened and nothing would change. So in thinking it over, I'm thinking that the catalyst is the coffee shop. It's them losing the coffee shop, that they're gonna lose the lease, essentially. And so now what I had originally envisioned of this kind of love story rom-com musical is gonna be something a little bit more pointed, a little bit more political maybe. And I think that's the problem with writing an original show that doesn't already have like a working book or a working movie. Like, you don't know what the beats are. I have to figure out the beats on my own. So that means I am struggling with trying to come up with a solution for this musical. I've written myself into a corner. Ale and Natalie are going to lose the coffee shop. They're 3 months behind on rent. And because this is LA, they're getting a rent increase from the landlord. So then that's the end of Act 1 in this structure, right? So Act 2 starts, how do we get there? How does she decide what she wants to do? And I think that's where I'm stuck. How are they going to save the coffee shop from here, right? What is going to make them better? I don't know. Are they going to try a different marketing strategy? Are they going to start a GoFundMe? So yeah, I don't know the answers to any of these questions. And in moments like this, I wish I was adapting something already written rather than writing something original, because it would be so much easier. Hi, I'm Maiga, and welcome back to Writing a Musical Sims edition.
As you know, your girl is always trying something new for her musical, so The Sims was only the next logical step.
So last night on Twitch, I hosted my first ever gaming stream, and we did The Sims, but we decided to do some world building, and I built pretty much all the characters that are, you know, currently in the world of Café con Leche.
I ended up discovering some major plot twists, and I am inspired by Crazy Stupid Love, I think is the name of the movie. I like the way kind of the reveal happens, and I want to create something similar for mine. I'm not copying like literally anything else in the plot. I just think the way that that's set up in the reveal is something that I really want. I really want like a no kind of thing, so I kind of want to build it.
And now that I have a visual of everyone in Willow Creek, I can show them to you. Now I want to put a little disclaimer here, like obviously this is the way I designed them because honestly I like using the random feature on The Sims, but also because I was just trying to be as ethnically diverse as possible in terms of like what I think Latinx people should look like, because we come in wide range of color.
But I think for me to remember, especially everyone else out there who's working on a project, is just to keep your eyes open. There's lots of great actors out there, and you can always get more diverse because there are always people out there who can do what you're looking for. You just need to look.
So that's what I'm really, really excited for. I mean, some characters have a very clear vision of how I want them because they're based on real people I know and I want them to look similar, but I am open to the possibility of them looking like themselves when they come and sing the show, you know? Anyway, let's talk about the characters.
First we have the Cortezes. That's Alejandra. That's Mama Rosa, her mom. Here's Megan Alvarez. And yes, my girl is plus size.
Actually, a lot of the characters are plus size because diversity not only in color, you know, right, in ethnicity, but also in plus size. Why is everyone on Broadway white and skinny? That's not what real people look like.
Next, the BFF household of Natalie, Michelle, and Alan. I'm trying to see if I want to get rid of Michelle and replace her with Alan, but I made them all. I haven't decided if they're a throuple or not. And then the last character I made last night, the landlord. Señor Smith, or is it Herrera? In the previous episode of this vlog, I talked about how I was working on Save the Cat and how the catalyst is supposed to be something really big, like something they can't back down from. So not only is it a love story between Alejandra and Megan and like coming out as queer, but also about saving the coffee shop and, you know, what that means in the future. There is a lot of like story developing in my mind. I'm very excited. And so when I came up with the landlord yesterday, everything clicked and it's just developing into something I couldn't foresee, and it's amazing.
Hi, I'm Maiga and welcome back to Writing a Musical, Save the Cat edition. I just finished reading chapter 2, aka The Transformation Machine, the 15 beats of Save the Cat. Yeah. And here are my notes for Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. During today's Twitch stream and the creativity sprints, I really tried to focus on matching the beats to those musical theater beats, like the 11 o'clock number, the transition beats, all that really important musical theater lingo, because really what these beats are for me are songs. These are songs I need to write. And I've only written 3 and I don't even know if I'm gonna keep them now. Also, if you can hear the crunch, it's the boy. Hi, boy. But I'm gonna be honest with y'all. After reading Save the Cat, honestly, I'm more confused. In a way, it was good because it made me realize that the catalyst I wanted, the coffee shop catalyst, is actually way more powerful than just her, like, you know, like getting Megan's love note. Like, that's still a huge catalyst, but it doesn't have to be the thing that sets everything off. You know, it's kind of the second wave of pain that our girl's gonna go through, poor Alejandra. But the first thing is the coffee shop. They're gonna lose it. They want under new management. They're trying to keep it. They're gonna make a plea with the landlord. And well, let me show you kind of the mess that I've made. So this is what I've titled The Breaking Point. This is kind of the big scene that I want. It's gonna be the big reveal of the show. In short, it's gonna be characters that we already know and recognize, but that the characters themselves don't know of yet. So it's going to be just a big surprise. If you've seen the movie Crazy Stupid Love, it's kind of the reveal of Act 2 in that movie. It's kind of what inspired me to go this route. As you can see, we have Alejandra and Megan together. They spent the night together. They're in love. Alejandra has accepted that she's in love with the woman for the first time. Yay her. Her best friend Natalie has been left behind because they're the owners of the coffee shop and they have a meeting that morning and they were supposed to try and come up with a plan to save it, and she didn't show up because she was with her. Then we have Mama Rosa, Alejandra's mom, who, you know, is worried that she's dead, also doesn't know that she's gay, and that's about to be a big fallout. Then we have Mama Rosa and her love interest, Jebediah Smith, who, you know, they met at church singles night, except Mama Rosa knows Jebediah Smith as Juan Herrera, because he lied and changed his name to get more opportunities through email, you know, to sound white, which is something that a lot of people of color do. And also, he's the landlord that has been traumatizing the girls with, oh, there's this new offer coming, and the mom is obviously upset at the landlord, and so it's a big revelation for her. Then we have Megan, who obviously knows Jebediah only through email since she reached out to him to take access to the shop, which isn't going to happen now because she's in love with Megan. But also, Jebediah / Juan Herrera is actually Megan's strange dad because she hasn't seen him in like 15 years. And I still have all the minor. Good morning. It is August 19th, a day before the BMI musical theater workshop results were supposed to come out. It is 9:33 a.m. My hands are shaking because I got an email this morning from them. I haven't looked at it. I just saw it and I just threw my phone and came here to remember this moment. I am shaking right now. I can feel my heart beating out of my chest and the blood running through my body. For transparency's sake, my anxiety was so bad yesterday that I was not able to sleep. Like, I stayed up and I worked on stuff, and then I still wasn't able to sleep. I maybe went to sleep at like 4 in the morning, so. I'm literally gonna throw up. All right, I'm just gonna look at it. Let's do it. That's what I got. All right, well, here are my thoughts just in the moment.
First is that now that so many people applied, there's less of a chance I'll get in, which is nerve-wracking. The second thing is that mid-November is Thanksgiving, which is such a weird timeline to start a project. I've been avoiding the writing process for the duration of the waiting process because it was supposed to be 3 weeks. And I can't bring myself to write anything for the musical. I think I'm gonna have to get over that because September 15th from now is a month. Like, it's the 19th right now. So, all right, well, that's the update. I'll check in with you later.
Hi, I know this isn't the usual place I update, but I have to let you know. I know I'm running behind on vlogs, but I just finished plotting the entire show today, and it is so freaking exciting. More updates soon. Hi, I'm Maiga, and welcome back to another day in the life of a musical theater songwriter. As you can see, currently on the trail, and I know it's been a while since I've updated you, so I figured I would do it all at once while here alone thinking on the trail. So first, let's talk about the elephant in the room, BMI. I have to say, honestly, I'm kind of gutted knowing that we have to wait like 20 plus more days. Anyway, here's Jack. But I don't want to take that in a bad light. It isn't a reflection of me and my work yet. And it's a good thing that more people apply to do it because, you know, we need more new blood in the musical theater world. And I have to wait and be patient, which is hard for me to do because I am your local anxiety queen. So, because I'm me, I did indeed, in my midst of the panic, like literally that same day I got the BMI review, found something that I could focus my time on and energy. For those of you who don't know, I actually live in the greater San Diego area, although originally I am from Los Angeles. And, you know, it was like before the panini happened in 2019 that I ended up finding some of like the local theater scene, and I was working on a concept album, and somebody was like, a musical? And I was like, no, because I don't want to do a musical again. But, you know, almost 2.5 years later, clearly I've changed the tune. Also, I know the desert isn't for everyone, but I honestly love and adore desert hiking. Anyway, for those of you who don't know, San Diego is actually known for having a really robust theater scene and for putting up new musical theater works, and there are places who are looking right now. I actually already have enough to apply, but I figured I probably need to get a first draft of the show done by the due date, which is December 10th. So for this new musical theater initiative, that gives me about 100 days or 3 months before the due date, and I think it'll really just give me a lot of focus for my show. I think more than anything, this is just giving me the motivation that I need to keep pushing and keep writing, because while I was waiting for the BMI verdict, I honestly felt like I couldn't write at all. I had huge writer's block, but mostly just imposter syndrome and being unable to convince myself that my work was any good. So anyway, I know that the vlogs that I'm going to keep posting, like, it won't be actually that much time for you guys to get this update, but in recording it, today is August 22nd, so yeah. But I finished plotting my show, and I'll make a video about that later once I'm in my office, so see you later. Hi, I'm Maiga, and welcome back to Writing a Musical. It is currently 10 p.m. on the 22nd, and I want to talk about plotting the musical and it finally being done. You probably can't tell the difference, but it's actually the next day now. 7 in the morning on the 23rd, and yeah, it for some reason didn't save, so let's talk about plotting again. So for those of you that know, I have been relying on Save the Cat as my plotting tool. It has been kind of difficult to get it to work though. This is kind of the first version of it that I did. Then I took notes on it, and it really just didn't make sense to me, but I did have kind of the breaking point that I wanted the whole show to revolve around. So when I met with John for our 13th lesson on the 20th, I told him about my goals of applying for the musical theater initiative that I was going to submit kind of the first draft of the show to, and that I, you know, wanted to get it done by the 10th of December, and that I just essentially needed to finish plotting the musical and write the rest of the songs. So we really talked about kind of what I thought the show would be and kind of where I expected it to go. But he reminded me that, start with a clear slate if things aren't working. And we ended up talking about an ending scene that I really liked.
But more than anything, he made me realize one of the biggest revelations that I've just been ignoring.
And that is that despite me creating the landlord character, the actual antagonist to Alejandra is Rosa, her mom.
Now, it is a hard thing to admit that the person that your character loves the most is actually the one that's hurting them, but because this is a queer coming out story and really the theme of this show turns out is identity in all different aspects, and I can do a character breakdown going further down the line, it became so obvious once he said it, and I realized that I was fighting it because, right, the musical is based on real life experiences for me and my friends and just our lives. And so, trying to admit that the person you love most is what's hurting you, yeah, that does something to your psyche.
So after talking with John, I was not only able to finally figure out the 8 main characters.
There's obviously going to be an ensemble because we need to fill up the coffee shop and the church and all that stuff.
I also broke down the 3 main characters, which are Megan, Rosa, and Alejandra, and kind of what their needs are, and ultimately plotted the whole show. That's Act 1. All of this is Act 1 as well. And then we have Act 2.
I worked from the breakdown point forwards to the end and then replotted all Act 1. So the goal for today, really during my stream, is to type it all up and create an outline. And wow, we are so fucking far along. Can you believe it?
Hi, I'm Maiga, and welcome back to Writing a Musical Bedtime Update Edition. It's not really late night, but I look like this. It's currently 10:54 p.m. on August 25th. And my goal for today was to take my outline that I have roughly sketched out here and type it into a document so I can actually read it. Amazing.
Even though it's already 4 pages of an outline, it's really just day 1 and a half of 3. I really see the days happening over a 3-day period, with Act 1 being composed of day 1 and day 2, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Act 2 opening Friday morning.
I forgot to take any video of my hike today, but it ended up being absolutely necessary to the creation process, and here, let me show you.
While on the drive, I was not only able to come up with kind of the hook of the crux of the café con leche thing. I know that's going to be the title of my opening song, and in talking it through with my husband, I came up with that idea, but more importantly, I ended up listening to this opening number, and this opening number. The thing I learned from listening to the Beauty and the Beast one is that it's a good time to introduce the ensemble, give little bits of the world in a very real and contextual way, almost like creating character through actual singing, which is something that I hadn't really thought of, especially in the ensemble version, because I think it's really hard to conceptualize, at least for me right now, ensemble in such an intimate story that I want to tell. From listening to Waitress, I really got that sense of setting up the lead character, the opening character, and how important it is to just take a moment at the beginning to remind people who the story is about and who we should be focusing on. I think that just adds a lot of depth, and I love the butter, flour, sugar thing that she does, and I think that's really cool. And then leading into this big opening number, big fan. And then finally, In the Heights does so many things right. I mean, it really grabs you by starting off really small and then building up to the finally big In the Heights. But also, it's so good at setting up the different melodic themes for each character, and it's almost like an overture in that it introduces all the musical themes very early on, but also in a way that sounds fresh, so that when you hear them the second time, you're like, oh, I know that melody, but also I've never heard these lyrics before, and it moves the plot forward. It's really lends a genius. And I think that's what's so important about studying masterworks and listening to just other musicals, is how do people solve the problem effectively. I think the way that I've decided to tackle the song is, first I want Alejandra to take a moment at the beginning, just in her room, to be like, this is how I'm feeling, and then jump into the opening number. Have all the characters' themes present, have the ensemble create the world rather than having Alejandra narrate. And with that, I think I'm finally ready to try and write my opening number. Hi, I'm Maiga, and welcome back to Writing a Musical. The stream just ended, and I really think this comment in the chat sums it up the best. These comments, shit's getting crazy. So we worked for over 3 hours, just nonstop, and I ended up finally finishing all of Act 1 and starting Act 2, which is all the drama, where it's all... Let me just show you. My outline, which I showed you yesterday, is now sitting at 10 pages. like, my God. And I finished writing out all of Act 1. Like, that's just all Act 1. And here is our messy, messy Act 2, baby. I think the end of Act 1 is really strong as we really show kind of all the perspectives of everyone who's suffering from this. We have Natalie at the coffee shop trying to come up with a plan for the landlord, just worried for Alejandra. Is she safe? Is Megan actually a serial killer? We have Alejandra finally giving into her needs and just being so happy to be seen and loved. And her and Megan just running off together. For those of you who know, that's Alejandra, which is adding a little bit of a phone call with Rosa. And Rosa, Alejandra's mom, just coming back from church after singles night, having met someone who like really touched her and impacted her and just like, you know, potential for love. And this is like the first time that's happened for her since her husband's death. So it's just like, whew. So then coming into Act 2 and having all the lies unravel in front of Alejandra, who has lied to her mom, who has lied to Natalie about where she is, and just Megan's lies coming undone, and Rosa just kind of standing there and being like, oh my God, wow, the whole world around me is collapsing. Of course, Natalie being super mad that her best friend let her down for a girl who she hasn't even met for like just on a date. I'm currently working on kind of that big reveal, the breakdown of Act 2. And oh my God, it is already just it's so intense, the drama. This is kind of the zero draft of the script where I'm just kind of plotting out major points and ideas that I think it should be, but let me read you some of that. Hi, Natalie. Where's Alejandra? I haven't heard from her since last night. What do you mean last night? I spoke with her at around midnight. And she said she was going to be spending the night with you. Alejandra arrives. I thought you were dead. Did your phone die? Alejandra, you told me you were with Natalie last night. Is that not true? Did Megan do something to you? Is that why you left me and Michelle and Alan to fend for ourselves? Anyway, I know that wasn't a good reenactment, also because obviously this is like draft 0 of the script, but just know that it's going to be so intense. It's going to be so much drama, but also like the silence is going to be deafening in this show. Holy shit.
Hi, I'm Maiga, and welcome back to another day in the life of a musical theater songwriter. And today, we're going to Barnes and Nobles, baby. This place, I give them too much of my money. I came here looking for one book specifically, which is Music Theory for Dummies. It was per John's recommendation. I really need to go over some stuff. And as you can see, it was nowhere to be found in the section it was supposed to be. Awesome. And then out of the corner of my eye, I saw it because it was meant for me. John said I needed to connect my player brain to my composer brain, so he said this is going to help. Also, I really want this now, because Sondheim, baby. And now my favorite section, the theater. I really, really want this. As someone who's writing a musical right now, I just want to know how hard it was. But for $40, it can wait. Then I got The Secret Life of the American Musical. It's going to be so helpful in plotting out the musical, I can already tell. And then last but not least, Hadestown. I actually haven't heard it at all, so I'm definitely looking forward to reading this, listening to it, and then reading it again. I might totally make it a series if you guys want to. Now, it was hard to just get stuff that I needed. This tarot deck looked amazing. Luna y Sol. These sticky notes, I want them so bad. They're so cute. And of course, stationery is the death of me. It's my favorite section of Barnes & Noble. Look at that Levin calendar. I want it. Of course, I had to see my man, Waluigi. And then I walked out of there staying under budget for the most part. And then after that, I picked up some Subway for dinner. And that's pretty much the whole thing. See you next time with another day in the life.
Hi, I'm Maiga, and welcome back to Writing a Musical. Stream just ended. We almost made bingo. But a lot happened today. Like, a lot. I actually ended up streaming twice today if you showed up, but I only worked on the musical during the usual time, which is 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you want to join and see what I'm working on with the musical, come and hang. Especially today, because today was actually a huge day in terms of like where the show is going. So just let me show you. First off, I have finished the outline / zero draft of the show. It sits currently at 14 pages. I have a lot of dialogue and ideas there. But yeah, it's done. The end. I did a lot of discovery writing in the process. It's taken me about 2 to 3 days to get it done. But I did use the majority of what I wrote for like the second outline that I did when I was using Save the Cat. But I did do a lot of just writing dialogue, ideas that came in through my head, and just kind of letting everything come through me rather than like, you know, editing as I go through. It's just like whatever happens, happens, and that gets written into the outline. I have a functional zero draft. I did a couple of things today that I think really impacted what I got done. First thing is that I watched this scene. This is the one that's really inspired the breakdown of my show. So I realized that it's only 3 minutes, which means the reveal has to happen quickly and stack on top of each other. Like there isn't a lot of time to dilly-dally and like build up as much dialogue as I thought. So I'm really going to have to build up the little scenes afterwards. I think I'm gonna watch the movie again soon so that I can figure out kind of how it's spaced out, you know, learn from the masterworks. Although I don't know who would consider Stupid, Crazy Love a masterwork, but hey, maybe it's me. That really kind of pushed me over the edge and allowed me to finish the zero draft today. It's really nice to be able to read the words "the end," but more importantly, I was able to kind of figure out little sections and little connecting tissue that I was missing with the big scenes that I wanted, and still be able to kind of connect the church and everything that comes with that. We love homophobia. That's obviously sarcastic, but I think the thing that really kind of sold it for me is really interweaving the characters as much as I can. And then last but not least, I've started draft 1, which means I'm going to start writing lyrics and songs. I have 2 song titles right now that I think are really kind of the guiding themes of both Alejandra and Rosa. First is Perfect Immigrant Daughter, which is what Alejandra is trying to live up to, kind of the expectations, and then have that flip in the end to I am not your perfect immigrant daughter. I think that'll be a really powerful moment, especially as an immigrant kid. And then have Rosa's song be Mi Tesoro, aka My Treasure. I think that that's really sweet and really conveys kind of how much she values Alejandra. So yeah, a lot got done. Hi, I'm Maiga, and welcome back to Writing a Musical. The stream just ended, worked on the musical a bit, and I have bad news. Some of you might have already seen the little video of me just suffering and dancing to Olivia Rodrigo's thing. So when you gonna tell her? But I do need to talk a little bit more in detail because my God, I really thought I was ready to start writing songs. I was super excited yesterday, even on stream. I literally started wooing, being like, whoa, we're ready. And after meeting with John for Lessons with John, yeah, that dream, it ended. So I read to him the outline / zero draft for Act 1 with kind of all the scenes. I had a feeling that it was a little bit long, but I felt like it covered a lot of kind of what I'm trying to say for Alejandra, like setting up the status quo and then, you know, tearing it open. And to just sum up John's thoughts very quickly is that when Act 1 was over and I was like, okay, let's jump to Act 2, he's like, no Act 2. No, we need to fix Act 1. And I was like, ugh. So to say I was gutted is an understatement, but he did give me some really good critique, which I've taken to heart, obviously. So let me share with you. First things first is just being very clear about the want. What does she want at the beginning? What does Alejandra want at the end? And how do we get there? This was my 3rd attempt at typing up the outline and my first attempt at a zero draft in terms of story and kind of what I wanted each scene to be. So there was a lot of discovery writing, which is good now because again, I'd rather do more than do less because you can always tick away. It's always harder to add. But of course, I added too much and made it too confusing. So he wasn't really able to follow the plot as best as he can. I also like defanged Megan's plot by making her more like, oh, she's giving a donation and it's about a misunderstanding rather than it being about the job and kind of fighting against capitalism. Whatever. It could be better, and I'm fixing it, and I'm getting rid of the landlord Megan subplot because that's just messy. Again, I think there was a lot of good character work there, and while I might have to cut a lot more than I want, I think it'll still make the characters feel really strong and thought out because I did give them a lot of thought. So then I started mapping out the relationships and the beats and how everything works together and how they're all connected to the steak, the coffee. And I mentioned the steak because I'm now reading The Secret Life of the American Musical by Jack Vertiel, which is essentially Save the Cat but for musical theater. It's a craft book, very well written so far. I've written 2 chapters during the stream and have obviously been taking notes both in my journal and in the book. It's so eye-opening to again look at musical theater from a very technical machine-like perspective, and I think that's really going to help me write and do these edits. So back to the drawing board, baby. Hey, I'm Maiga, and welcome back to another day in the life of a musical theater songwriter. Today is getting My Mom Vaccinated edition, which was a whole family affair with me, my twin sister, and my mom. Here's my beautiful mom getting vaccinated, and if you haven't done that yet, make sure that you do. It is life-saving. As your local Chileans, we of course had to celebrate such an occasion by going to a Chilean restaurant. We got empanadas, humitas, churrascos, the whole 9 yards. El Chilenazo is one of our favorite restaurants and highly recommend if you're in the San Fernando Valley area. Then of course, later we had to go get some Starbucks, my twin sister and I. Here she is humoring me with the video. I ended up getting the vanilla frap with espresso shot, highly recommend. I did have to do some work later in the evening, so I ended up doing that while we were in the living room hanging out, watching Princess Wei Young. It's a Chinese telenovela and it is honestly so bingeable, highly recommend, so good. Then my mom and my sister were nice enough to drop me off at the train station since I took the train to come see them this weekend. It's honestly nice not to have to drive around myself. There's my beautiful twin sister and my mom going up the ramp at the station. And of course they're making fun of me because I always have to take video to remember everything that we do. Now this is the Surfliner, which is the train that I take. It follows the coastline for most of its route and is so beautiful during the day. The ocean is stunning. During the train ride, I read more of The Secret Life of the American Musical. And then of course the guy behind me rapped Donda very loudly, and yes, he was. It's about 3 hours from my mom's house to where I live in the greater San Diego area. But Amtrak is so comfortable, so highly recommend if you haven't done that yet. And so yeah, I'll see you next time with... Hi, I'm Maiga, and welcome back to another day in the life of a musical theater songwriter. It was a rainy day in SoCal, which is very rare for us down here, so I just decided to enjoy it, had some nice tea. Even Jack was napping the morning away. He rarely does get to see rain. As to be expected, I continued reading The Secret Life of the American Musical. This book has absolutely consumed everything I've done. I was listening to Jose Jose in the background for some inspiration. I really think this book is going to be the key to my plotting problems, especially this Guys and Dolls outline. Now, let's take a quick saunter to the vet, because I had to get dressed. It was still raining outside. Turns out I went on the wrong day. It was supposed to be the week after that I took Jack to the vet, but they did have time for a quick checkup and some nail trimming, but I had to reward him after the pain he suffered, so I got him some things from Petco, and that mummy literally lasted an hour. He just bit right through it. My boy has really good teeth and he's still spoiled. Then to end the day, we went on a hike. Yes, that thing was eating another thing and I don't know what it was, but the desert is looking as beautiful as always. See you next time with another vlog.